Hello everyone and welcome back to JB's Total Gaming, and if you pay attention to the channel you know I like to bring you indie games you might not have heard about otherwise that may be worth checking out. And I haven't done one of these in a while, but sometimes I'd like to bring you videos of games that I haven't necessarily played but have seen a bit of or know a bit about or I'm really interested in because, well, I'm not a big enough channel to get free games, so I can't buy them all and I don't have time to play them all. The first game we're going to bring to you is Night in the Woods. I've been checking out a playthrough of this game. If it looks interesting to you, I suggest checking out Jesse Cox's channel on YouTube. He's doing a playthrough of it, and it is mostly a story game where you're a cat in this town that's kind of cute, but every once in a while just a little bit creepy. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I think it looks really intriguing. What I've seen of it so far is pretty neat, but bear in mind it is mostly a story game. There are some light puzzle elements and a little bit of dialogue and things that can go on, but it just seems like a really interesting universe, and I'm really interested in seeing where it's going, and it has really positive reviews so far, and like I said, I've liked what I've seen of it so far. Alright, next up we have Hollow Knight. So this looks like, while I'm sure it has a story, a little bit more gameplay focus, looks like some rather difficult, possibly, both platforming and combat going on, and just a beautiful art style. Actually, quite a few of these games, I liked the art style of the first game we talked about, but this one I really in particular like. It's a really gorgeous looking game, kind of a Metroidvania style, as you can see that massive map. If you're not familiar with that term, having to do with Metroid and Castlevania, where you get new items and you can get to new areas in the map and so on and so forth, and keep reaching out further and further and upgrade your character. It looks like a pretty interesting game with, like I said, interesting platforming, combat, upgrades, and exploring. So looks like a lot to offer here. Now this game actually releases today, so no reviews for it yet, but it certainly is one that I'm keeping my eye on. Alright, next up we have The Mooseman. So this is a game that also very positively reviewed, and the look of it at least reminds me of, I'm trying to remember the iOS game I played a while back. Of course I'm not going to be able to think about it, but it was kind of like a Scandinavian game that had to do with certain myths and things like that, and this is another one of these games that has to do with like certain myths within cultures and whatnot, and kind of uncovering a secret. And again, this one goes back to looking quite a bit like a more story-focused game, but it does look like there are gameplay elements to it, although there is a lot of walking in a beautiful world. But again, very positive reviews, and we've had kind of a very gameplay-focused game in between games that look more like worlds that you're trying to explore, but this one with a little bit darker theme, even though the first one looks like it may get dark at moments, but I haven't gotten that far in it yet to know. Alright, next up we have Invisigun Heroes. So this is definitely a multiplayer game, one that you probably will be more interested in if you have friends to play with online. The thing about this game is you're all playing as different characters that have different special abilities. You're on a map and no one can see each other. However, you leave footprints in certain areas. If you bump into the wall, you reveal yourself, or if you fire, you reveal yourself for a brief period of time. Now, the thing is, you also can't see yourself. So this is a game that struggled a little bit with a player base. It's catching on a little bit now that some other, a little bit bigger reviewers like Total Biscuit have sung its praises, but again, some people don't really like it. I think it looks really intriguing. It's not going to be for everyone, but if there is enough players online to play this, or you have other people interested in getting the game and playing it with, I think it's a really interesting concept where you're having to keep track of where you are, and trying to look for signs of where other people are, getting power-ups that are on the map, bluffing people, and using different special abilities. There's a lot of game modes and a lot of maps and different characters to play, so I think the game seems to offer a lot if you're interested in that sort of gameplay. The last game I'm including here is Oxygen Not Included. I'm a little bit confused by this game. If you go to it on Steam, there isn't a possibility to add it to your cart, but if you go to Northern Lion's YouTube channel, he has a link there that allows you to have this, and I'm still not even sure if you can actually purchase it yet or not. But this is a game by the creators of Don't Starve. However, it is a little bit more in line with RimWorld, if you're familiar with that, where basically you are controlling a colony and you have to constantly be building things and figuring out what's going to be the best. And you can't control people directly, but you can give people tasks and then organize the priority of those tasks while trying to maintain hunger and things like that. But at the same time, you're dealing with a lot of different elements. Like, for example, The reason it's called Oxygen Not Included is there are maps you can look at the different gases and things like that, or liquids. Things flow in certain ways, the gases function in certain ways, based on where they can move to, based on their weight, all different kinds of things. So there's a lot of cool little, almost physics-based elements to the game too, where you're trying to handle some things that aren't necessarily things that show up in other survival or colony type games. So hopefully that's 5 games that you guys might be interested in checking out that are either out now, coming out today, or coming out soon, that might be worth your while. And thanks a lot for watching, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.